In this episode, a curious Deep Purple box set from France. Tell us which tracks you think are missing.
Hello, good evening, welcome to the latest episode of Crushed Custard. But thanks to everybody who watched the Trapeze episode about Medusa, which has rocketed through the roof for my channel and has had far more views than I normally get. So thank you very much to everybody who watched that. And let's see if we can get somewhere close with a few more. That would be good. Anyway, what have we got for you tonight? Well, it's one of my Boxing Clever episodes, which, if you remember, we started at the start of the year where we just look at a few box sets very quickly. And today I'm looking at quite a different one. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's a weird one in a number of ways for me as well, because it's a compilation box set, which I'm not a huge fan of compilation albums, but this one is a bit weird and it's a bit interesting as well. And also, it's a Deep Purple album. Now, if you remember when I started this channel off, everybody said, oh, it'll be all Deep Purple and free. Well, looking back through it, I have done very little actual Deep Purple stuff. I've done lots of things connected to them, but I haven't actually done any of the big albums yet, apart from the 52nd anniversary edition of Machine Head, which came out last year. So one or two people have been suggesting it's about time I put that straight and started going on to some of the bigger albums that I need to take a little bit of a look at and see what sort of opinion is. So I'm probably going to do that over the next few months and try and keep it to like one album a video, keep it down to sort of 10-15 minutes if we can, because a lot of people seem to prefer the shorter ones, although that Trapeze one was 25 minutes. I've also been getting into trouble for taking too long to get to the point, and we're almost about a minute and a half or even 2 minutes by the time I put the intro on in, and I haven't told you what I'm talking about yet, but hopefully you'll have seen the thumbnail and you will know. And it is this. It is a box set, a Deep Purple compilation called Hard Rock Heroes, which was a French-only compilation that came out in 1985. So the interesting thing there is that this sort of came out around the same sort of time as they'd reformed, didn't it? They just put the first Reformation album out, the Perfect Strangers and all that sort of stuff. We got an album called the Anthology over here. This, I'm guessing, must have been the sort of French equivalent, but it's a bit odd. It's a bit weird. Basically, it's on this Trio label, which I think is like a French branch of Harvest. It's got all the Harvest stuff on the back that you can see down there. Now, first of all, let's start at the cover. The cover on the front is, well, it's the best place to put a cover, isn't it, on the front? There you go. That is a live shot of Mark III. Okay? Now, remember Mark II have just reformed, so you'd have thought they'd have wanted a live shot of Mark II on the front, but they didn't. They wanted a live shot of Mark III. Well, that's what they got anyway. What you get inside is it comes out in a slipcase like this. On the inside of the slipcase, you get this collection coffret from Trio, which tells you all about all the other things that they've got. And there you can see Hard Rock Heroes is included in here. Some other interesting ones. You've got the Animals, the Beach Boys, all sorts of different people on here. Lots of French artists as well. Well, as you've got Benny Goodman, and you've also got Kim Wilde down the corner. It doesn't seem to really fit necessarily with the rest of them. Then, what you've got on the other side is you've got a very brief history of the band, very brief indeed. Obviously, that's in French. And then, on the inside, you've got the 3 albums that are just in polylined sleeves. I'll get one out to show you what the label looks like. It's the Harvest sort of label, as you can see there, but it's you can catch hold of that. You can see that one right, and also on the other side we've got the French bag, if you like. And that it's got me thinking, when I was doing this, about how they make compilation albums, because people have gone about wanting to get first presses and all that sort of stuff, and how they make the thing. How do they do it with a compilation? Do they have to make a new? Well, presumably they have to make a new stamper, but where do they get the information to put on the stamper? However they do that, I don't know. So if there's technical experts who know how they do that bit. I'll be fascinated to find out, because there's obviously got to be some sort of mastering and levelling process. All the tracks would sound different volumes and things, wouldn't they? I've never really given it a great deal of thought until recently, where everybody's going on about A1, B1 presses and all that sort of stuff. But these compilations, where do they actually get the music from on the vinyl the first time? I dare say now it's all digital, because it's on, well, even on the record it's probably digital, but a CD it's more digital, so it's probably quite simple. But how did they do it back in 1985 when they made this and they got all the bits together? Now, it'll make it even more sort of, well, it'll make you see why I've questioned that when you see the track listing, because the track listing on this is bonkers. It is totally bonkers. You've got 6 tracks from Mark 1, you've got 6 tracks from Mark 3, and you've got 9 tracks from Mark 2. So you've got 21 tracks spread over 3 albums. You've got nothing at all from Mark 4, so poor old Tommy Bowen don't get a look in. Obviously there's nothing from the new stuff, because it's only just come out and it's on a different label. You wouldn't expect that. But why they didn't put anything from Mark 4 on, I have got no idea whatsoever. And then, the tracks that they've picked are not necessarily the ones you would think they are. But what I can say is to do my sort of impression of Eric Morgan again. I should have put some glasses on, I could have done that wiggly bit. There's maybe all the right songs, but not necessarily in the right order. And they're all over the shop. So what have we got on it, track-wise then? Let's have a look. I'll have to look at the back of the box, because it's easier for me to see. Now you'll see from this, it's all gone in a rather funny sort of order. It's dotted around all over the place. So we start off on side 1. There's 4 tracks on side 1. If you go off with Highway Star, yeah, that's a fairly sensible one to start with, because it's pretty obvious from now on we're not going in any sort of chronological order. We're dotting and darting all over the place. We follow that up with Hush, which was the first single, of course, on the first album. So that's a Mark 1 track. Then we're in side 1 with 2 Mark 3 tracks, both from Stormbringer. Stormbringer and Lady Double Dealer. And again, that doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense to me. I mean, Stormbringer and Lady Double Dealer are the 2 heaviest tracks off the Stormbringer album. You'd think they'd want to be a little bit of sort of light and shade, someone mix it up a little bit. But, I mean, you've got pretty sort of like heavy sound in side 1 to kick things off there, haven't you, really? Then we go into side 2. There's only 3 tracks on side 2. You've got Strange Kind of Woman, which was obviously a single, of course, from just before Fireball. That's Mark 2. Then you go into Mandrake Route, which is a Mark 1 track from the first album again. And then you go to Woman from Tokyo, which is the opening track on the final Mark 2 album. Who do we think we are? So again, we're darting all over the place. And we've got 2 Mark 2s, a Mark 1 in the middle, and no Mark 3 at all on side 2. So I just can't figure out the thinking behind how they sorted this out. It's all, not like they thought, well, I know, we'll kick this off with a heavy one, then we'll have a longer jammy type track, then we'll have a short punchy one. Well, it just seems to me as though they drew them out of a hat to see where to go. So we go on to the second disc now, and the second disc has got 4 tracks on each side. The first side of disc 2 kicks off with Black Knight. Okay, that's a single, of course, that came out before Deep Purple in Rock. What do we get after that? Well, we get Demon's Eye, which was on the second album, second Mark II album, Fireball. Then we jump straight on to Burn. But we don't get Burn, we get Lay Down, Stay Down, which is not very often put on compilation albums. And we follow that up with another Mark III track, but from Stormbringer this time, Hold On. So, again, a strange sort of mixture to kick off the second record. On the second side of that, what do we get? Well, we start off with Burn, which yeah, it's a good track to start with, but then we go into Mark 1, Why Didn't Rosemary, from the third album, which is followed up by Mistreated. So it's like we've stuck a Mark 1 track in between 2 tracks from Burn, and then we're going to pop on the end. It's almost like we've got a bit of space left. What should we put on? Oh, look, Emeretta. That don't last very long. We'll put that on there. And so we go back to Mark 1 again, and we get Emeretta. So, again, we're all over the shop. You go on to the final record, the third of the 3 discs in the box, and this time we're only going to get 3 tracks on each side. So, and this gets even crazier now. We start off with Smoke on the Water, which, yeah, you probably expect that might kick off one of the sides of the way that they go with this. It could have been any old way, couldn't it? But what do we get then? we get Help from Shades of Deep Purple. So we're back to Mark 1 again. And we follow that up with the final track on side 1 of the third disc, remember? With Hey Joe. Also from the first album, Shades of Deep Purple. So that's a pretty weird side. And then, what are we going to get next? We're going to get the final side. What do you think we get on the final side? What tracks do you think we got missing? I'm sure people are thinking quite a few. If I tell you that on side 2 of the third record, it's all Mark 2, and it all came from the same album. It's Speed King, Into the Fire, and Child in Time. 3 tracks off In Rock. It's half the In Rock album. It's such a weird track listing. It makes it quite sort of interesting because you don't know what's coming next. Somebody like me who's so used to reading all these songs and stuff, you sort of like, when a track finishes, you almost know what's coming next, and if you don't get it, it can make it a bit odd. So this one, I haven't played it for a long time until I played it a year or so ago, and it totally threw me because it's all over the place. So I do not know how they came up with that track listing. I don't know how they came up with that order. 6 from Mark 1, 6 from Mark 2, 6 from Mark 3, and 9 from Mark 2. But it's very heavy on Shades of Deep Purple. Very heavy on Deep Purple in Rock. Deep Purple in Rock, you've got 3 tracks from Deep Purple in Rock. You've got a couple of tracks which only came out as singles from Mark 2. Then from Machine Head, you've only got 2 tracks, and you've only got 1 track from Fireball, and you've only got 1 track from Who Do We Think We Are. Then we go on to Burn, and from Burn you've got Burn, Mistreated, and Lay Down, Stay Down. No Sail Away on Might Just Take Your Life or You Fool No One. And then you go on to Stormbringer, and you've got Stormbringer and Lady Double Dealer both on the first side. And then you've got Hold On a bit later on. And most of the Mark 1 stuff again is coming from the first album. You've got Hush, Mandrake Roots, Help, and Hey Joe. 4 tracks of the 6 from Mark 1, all from Shades of Deep Purple. Then you've got Emeretta, which was a single which wasn't on any of the albums, I don't think. And then you've also got one more, haven't you? Which is Why Didn't Rosemary from the third album. You've got nothing from Book of Tallis In and nothing from Come Taste the Band. It's a mighty weird collection. You see one around, it's worth getting just for the fact that it's a bit weird. You can put it on if people come round and you can say, guess what the next track is, because they probably won't get it, and you can be forgiven for thinking that you've got a dodgy copy of Deep Purple in Rock when you get to side 6, because you've basically got 3 tracks off the Deep Purple in Rock album. So there you go, one of my oddest Deep Purple things. I'm not sure how many other people have got this. This came from France. I don't think it ever got released anywhere else. Not surprised, to be honest, because it's got such an odd track listing. But there you go, worth tracking down if you see it. It's not, I don't think it's overly expensive. I think it's just difficult to get hold of a copy because it was only around in France. If you got access to France or getting things from France without having to pay extortionate import charges, then you'll probably be able to pick one of these up for not a great deal. It's a fairly sort of flimsy thing, but the records are nice and it sounds okay as well. So there you go. Today's Boxing Clever is not boxing all that clever, really. The French Deep Purple box set compilation Hard Rock Heroes, released in 1985. I shall look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks to everybody once again for watching the Trapeze. Thanks to all 190 odd of my subscribers and all that sort of stuff. It would be nice to get it a little bit higher, but I have to keep telling you all to do all that liking and subscribing and all that type of thing. And I always forget. If you want to like and you want to subscribe, that would be very nice. Thanks for being patient as well. I'm waiting for those of you that do like them, and I am taking on board what people are saying about things. I've been taken to task about some things. Apparently I talk too fast, which my excuse for that is that one of my other little jobs is commentating on horse racing, so I have to talk fast to do that, otherwise the race will be finished before I started. So I'll try and slow down a little bit, or maybe, as one of my viewers from California says, they just put me on 0.75 speed over there and they can understand what I'm talking about most of the time. I've got requests in as well, so we'll try and look at them, and we're going to return to the random album generator type thing as well, although it'll be slightly different format, I think, because doing 3 albums on one makes it a little bit too long, so it'll probably only be 1 or possibly 2 if it comes out with a couple that I haven't got a great deal to talk about. I'm not going to go overly into depth a lot of stuff about analysing everything. I'll just probably tell you who it is, what it is, where I got it from, what I think of it, and all that sort of stuff. So maybe we might get a couple of episodes where we got 2 in. We might get a couple of episodes where we got 1 in. Again, if you can remember how that works, if you want to join in, you just got to send me any numbers you like between 0 and 100, and then what I'll do is I'll random shelf it, and then we'll go through the shelves, and we'll pick out what it is. And that's what we will do. So that'll be that then. Until next time, keep safe, enjoy listening to the music. If you're in Britain like me, the dark nights are coming, it's time to sort of draw the curtains and crack the old stereo up, isn't it? And enjoy the winter, hibernate for the winter with your music if you can, and then we can all go back outside again in the springtime. That's it. See you later.
Which tracks do you think are missing from this set? Let us know in the comments below. For me, it's Ring That Neck, Fireball, and You Keep On Moving. Please like and subscribe as it helps the channel to grow. See you soon.